and provocative, prophetic and practical,
intellectual stew,
informative and inspirational. How you gonna do better if you don't know what better looks like? I do.
intellectual stew,
Come on, let's talk about it with me, the mind massager.
intellectual
What's up? What's up? What's up? It's another night, another episode of the Intellectual Stew with yours truly, James Kirkland. And I am super excited to be here again on tonight. For those that are listening by way of Facebook Live, you feel free to go to DISCO100 Radio on YouTube. When you get there, make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe. If you want to watch the replay, I'll have it on mine tomorrow. But tonight we are excited to be here for the Intellectual Stew, where we are not sipping tea, but instead we are serving stew. And tonight we're going to have a interesting topic. We're going to talk about dealing with disappointment. I'm excited tonight because, I was going to do it by myself tonight, but I thought better of that. I brought in two of my children. I brought in Trey and Kendi. Y'all say hello to the viewers tonight.
Hello.
Uh-oh, I'm messing up trying to do too much, y'all. But listen, so we're going to get started with this dealing with disappointment thing tonight. Listen, disappointments are inevitable. All of us at some point in life is just going to happen. We're going to face some type of disappointment. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, it would be nice if life came with an exemption card from trials. It would be nice if life was constructed in such a way that when we were created, that it was a way that we could put a little caveat or a little disclaimer that says that you don't have to go through any trials, you don't ever have to get sick, you don't have to go through any of those types of things. But unfortunately, that's not the life we live. In this life, we are going to face disappointment. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how young you are. If you live in this thing called life, you're going to go through some difficulties, you're going to go through some disappointment. But the good thing about it is that I like to use a little slogan that the difficulties that we go through, they were not designed to destroy us, but instead, if we look at them properly, they were designed to develop us. Because the truth of the matter is, whatever we go through, it's just good. It's also just the reality that whatever we go through, we also grow through. Because what we do is we pick up experience as we go through what we go through. So tonight, Trey and Kennedy and I, we're going to talk about some disappointments that we might have experienced in our lives, in our lifetimes, and hopefully through this conversation, if you're there and you want to call in and talk about some disappointments you might have gone through and how you handle them, you can call us at 678-638-6626. Kimberly Fox Steps, I see you on here. I see John Wilson. I see some others. Good to see you all. But we're talking tonight about dealing with disappointment. Trey, can you think of some disappointments that you've experienced in your 23 years? Oh yeah, you had a birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Appreciate it.
All right. Kennedy had a birthday last week. Happy belated birthday to her.
Thank you.
They've both gotten a year older since the last time we were since they were on the show. I've had a couple of birthdays a couple of shows since my birthday. We're all July babies. These three in our home were July babies. That's why wasn't a whole lot of drama. Not in our bedrooms. Might have been another bit, but it wasn't a whole lot of drama in that house. We all, because cancers are a little different. We like to kind of chill by ourselves and kind of keep the drama down. So we kept a lot of the drama down. But I'm July 6th, Kennedy's July 12th, and Trey's July the 18th. But Trey, let's talk about some of the disappointments that you might have experienced, and how did you? Hey, Vicky, how you doing? How did you handle those disappointments?
My most recent disappointment, I would say, was when I tore my labrum in my left shoulder sliding into a base. But I will say disappointment is relative because it's all about how you react to your disappointment.
All right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that portion of it. You're right, because definitely everything.
That's why I say like it was disappointing at the time, but like my switch clicked, so it was so fast.
That's
where I
perfect.
like I'm good, you know.
And we're gonna unpack that a little bit more because I really want to talk about that. I think that's. I mean, I was kind of touchy on whether or not we wanted to deal with that subject because that's your personal testimony. You know what I'm saying? But we'll definitely get there. Kendi, can you think of anything in your life that served as a disappointment for you?
I think my freshman year, the way that I tore my labrum, I was a little disappointed in myself with because I know I was just like playing around and I could have easily avoided it. Okay. Maybe it was destined to happen, but just the way that it happened, I did not like.
So tell us what it means to tear your labrum and how you did end up tearing your labrum for the ones that are listening.
I felt like a pop or a snap when I was just throwing sidearm, just goofing around. So that just meant that I wasn't playing softball for 6 months.
Okay, let's set that stage. What that means is Kennedy's always played travel softball, and her sophomore year, she was, as she said, she was playing freshman year. She was outside practicing, and they were playing around, doing some little sidearm drills or sidearm playing, and when she threw the ball, she threw it improperly, and she popped her labrum. And when she popped her labrum, we took her to the doctor, and one doctor wanted to have surgery. Another doctor, Dr. Kevin Flight, shout out to Kevin Flight, he said no, he didn't want to do surgery. He said he recommended that we do therapy, and we ended up doing therapy, and she ended up coming back. But you've been talking about that disappointment. How did it make you feel?
I don't know if it made, because I was so obsessed with softball at the time. I just hated it for myself. I didn't understand like what sitting down would feel like. I didn't like it at all. But that just set me up to be more responsible in the future and not take for granted what I had.
All right. So that's a good point. That's a good point to segue into what we're using for a definition for disappointment. Definition of disappointment is sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. Sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. Trey, let's go back to you. You said that you were disappointed when you slid into second base. I mean, because I remember because Mom was out of town. Mackenzie and I were on our way to Alabama to watch you play because y'all were playing a doubleheader that day. And so when we got ready to head out, you text me. I think of you probably in the first or second inning, whatever it was. You said, "Dad, don't come." And I said, "Why?" And you said, "Dislocated shoulder." And all of a sudden, as a dad, whole bunch of stuff starts going through my head. You know, like, okay, is this a dislocated shoulder? He'll wrap it up. You know, he'll wrap it up. A few more days, you'll be back on the field. Yada yada yada. Now. And so let's go back even farther because as a baseball player, you've been playing baseball since you were 4 years old.
Yeah, I'm looking at this definition you gave me, and I'm wondering if what I wanted was to play in the major leagues, or was what came with playing in the major leagues.
Oh wow! Okay, unpack that thought.
Okay, so I've seen in what I do now, I see people live how they want to live, do whatever they want to do, drive these nice cars, go on all these trips, and they don't have to lift a finger if they don't want to.
Wow.
And some people bust their butts every day, playing 162 games, training 250 plus days a year, hurting every day to get those same things. You know what I'm saying? And it makes me wonder if I liked what came with it more than liking it.
But now that's good,
and because it's really just off of reading this definition of non-fulfillment of hopes or expectations, and my expectation was to achieve what I still can achieve now just in a different path.
Well, that's good. That's real good. Now, but you still going to step 3, and I want to stay at step 1. I want to stay at step 1 for a second, because and what you prove, and I want to get into that even more so a minute, is that how a mature reaction to disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about the initial stages of that disappointment, because setting the stage, you start training. You played t-ball at 4. I remember that. And on that team, there were a bunch of little boys, of course. All of y'all were 4 years old. And I never will forget how if the ball was on the ground, that all of them would be diving on the ground, reaching for the ball. And while they were all on the ground reaching for the ball, you would be standing by yourself with your arms folded, like, I ain't getting down there, because you had it. You know what I'm saying? And even when you played shortstop, you used to be scared to throw the ball to first because you knew the boy couldn't catch the ball or he would hit it. So you started slowing down your throws. So, and then as we progress, being cut from something. Let's talk about that. Remember, 11 years old, we tried out for a travel team. Didn't make that team. Was that a disappointment for you?
I guess back then, but it means so little in the grand scheme.
Yeah,
And
when I look at it in reverse, I think I might have been more disappointed
probably
than you probably were disappointed.
probably.
Because like when you didn't make one of those, I'm not gonna say that organization's name because I'm not giving no free press.
Yeah.
But when you didn't make that team, every time we played against them, I would be in the car trying to hype you up, and you probably batted about 700 against that team. You know what team I'm talking about, and you would hit that. I mean, some of them got players playing at University of Georgia, some in the major leagues, right? Well, not in the major leagues, but in major league organizations. But you would bruise them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you went to JUCO, did your thing in JUCO, went to D1, did your thing, took them to the regionals and played on the highest stage. Never will forget the ESPN man ran out the booth to run downstairs to tell you how good, how much he enjoyed watching you play baseball.
Right.
And he couldn't wait to see you play in the major leagues. And then we were going for this again. COVID comes, and during COVID season, I think you were batting right at about 330. I already had 4 or 5 home runs. I mean, you were locked in, and then COVID comes. But then during that time, there's a term called in strategic planning called a sigmoid curve. Y'all ever heard of that term?
I haven't.
Okay. What a sigmoid curve is see, typically when you want an organization to peak, right? But sometimes while it peaks, instead of peaking, it plateaus. And so when it plateaus, that means there's no more growth, right? It's a cross growth. But what happens is a sigmoid curve. Charles Sigmoid was one of these strategic planners. He says before an organization plateaus, then you grow in another direction. And even that year while during COVID, you were pledging, you were keeping straight A's in school, you were doing all of these things, and you were doing all these things, and at the same time you picked up a career, or picked up what at that particular time, did you think it would be a career? Or you did think it would be a career? And so because you thought it could potentially be a career, you started planting. You know what I'm saying? It's like a garden. I mean, my dad had a garden when I grew up. And it was right behind our fence in the backyard. And in the same garden, it wasn't even a full acre. It was just a little plot of land. But in this plot of land, he had sweet potatoes, he had tomatoes, he had several different vegetables growing in the same garden, right? So while you're in college, right, you're playing baseball full time, you're pledging the fraternity that you love now, you're making straight A's in school, and you were studying. Every time I called you, you're like, Dad, I'm studying. Dad, I'm studying. But now you make more money now, someday in a day, than a lot of people make in a month, right? And so, but doing that, you took your disappointment and didn't allow that to drown you. But you kind of turned, you exchange beauty for, you exchange beauty for ashes. You know what I'm saying? You turn your mourning into dancing, and that's a really, really strong a perspective. What do you think that resolve came from?
Well, like I said earlier, I think what I like? I like doing the cool stuff in baseball. I like hitting home runs, making diving plays, stuff like that. But I started to lose my love for the process of it.
Wow.
And that's what I came to the realization of. And I won't blame anyone, but I felt it before the season started. Really, I felt it.
It showed.
When it's just like you're not really feeling so much anymore. And I'll say, throw it out there, the 2020 season, going into that year, we had people staying after, hitting extra, yada yada. But it's like a culture change, and you are who you surround yourself with. I will say that. And it just wasn't that same energy around the team.
Wow.
And even that affected us as a team this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw how that ended up, you know. So I'll say all of it wound up playing together.
So at the beginning of the season, did you think you were still going to go pro?
I did off of simple, just talent.
Okay.
I did off of just my talent.
Because you
know?
still have the talent.
Yeah, have the talent. I know I could do it now if I wanted to, but
Okay.
it just I don't want to that bad. I don't want to that bad. I don't love the process anymore of it.
Okay. And I get it. I appreciate it. So that means that you did deal with the disappointment. All right, what time is it? 9:46. We're gonna give away our first T-shirt tonight. We did a contest the other day. I asked those to share a particular post or to like that post. Tell me what were all the rules of the contest, Trey?
You had to like the post,
Okay.
tag 2 friends, and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
All right. So Kennedy, who is our first winner?
Our first winner is Kimberly Fox Steps.
Kimberly Fox Steps. All right, Kimberly, if you're listening right now, you win T-shirts. Hold it up, but I think I've got to make sure it's the right size. But this is one of the T-shirts right here. If you can see that, it says hashtag on the path to better. It says hashtag is on the path to better. Vicky Payton says Trey is an extremely intelligent. All my kids are intelligent. I appreciate that, though. But I appreciate it. All right, so the sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. Now, I want to give you all some examples of some things that might be disappointing, and if you all want to add to that list, y'all let me know, okay? One of the first things I think that can lead to being disappointment is your choices. Would y'all agree with that? All right. Another one that can lead to things that would disappoint you would be actions or inactions of a loved one, because you sometimes you put a loved one in a position that that you really, really love. Kim, I need that. I need your address so I can send you. You won the first T-shirt. Kimberly Fox Steps. But actions or inactions of a loved one. So. That can definitely be a thing that disappoints. Another thing that's disappointment is underachievement, whether it be not making enough money, that'll do it to you, because sometimes not making enough money will leave you inadequate. Definitely make you feel like you're inadequate anyway. Another thing is underachievement as it relates to time. Don't have you don't get time back. If you try to set something up and you don't finish it in that allotted time or in that situation, then that can be disappointing as well. Where you work at, what kind of job you have, that kind of work. Those work, man. If you're not working in something that I used to tell y'all a lot. Try to find something that you're passionate about and make that pay you. And now that's interesting, Trey, because you said, and Kennedy as well, because you played softball until you were all the way through high school, and you still play now. But did you lose a love for it at a certain point?
Definitely after my junior year,
Okay.
I started not liking it as much.
Why?
But it was because of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was the people that were around you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They didn't take it as seriously as you did? Or
It was kind of annoying, and then some coaches.
That's why I say you are who you surround yourself
Yeah.
with. The energy you're around, it can sway you.
Yeah, but I don't think I ever brought myself down at any point. I think I really was that person that just watched other people do things, and I was just shaking my head. But that's not fun. So at some point, I stopped taking it so seriously.
So did your teammates disappoint you, or did you?
Mostly adults that I was surrounded by,
Okay.
and also some teammates.
Okay, and so that disappointment cause you to lose love, as much love for the game.
It wasn't fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember going into your senior year, you were like, I'm just gonna play high school ball and get a scholarship and go play football. You even told her one time, Kennedy, focus on your grades because you're not gonna go pro in softball, so get the best scholarship you can get. So, and the thing is sometimes it's not really the disappointment that you go through, it's how you respond to the disappointment, right? Because whether it be a choice, if you make a bad choice, and the bad choice causes you to do something that's stupid or that causes you to end up in a bad situation, then you handle that situation. Man, I never really taught y'all how to play spades or anything like that. But in spades, one thing you do is you play the cards you're dealt. And that's the thing about life, is that life deals its cards. And when you pick up your cards, man, you just put everything in the right suitor together, and then you play the card. And if you got the right card, that one card can change the game. Am I right about that? So things mean your job can disappoint. If you got a job, and I mean, me personally, I am one, and y'all have watched me, and that I probably underachieved a whole lot. And I know I definitely probably disappointed some people in my life, but I was never one that really liked working a 9 to 5. I never enjoyed. I never liked you telling me that I could only work for a certain salary. I never liked anyone. I've always worked commission jobs. My biggest motivator was a bad week. If I had a week where I had a 0 check, then the next week, you best believe I was gonna break the bank trying to make up for last week. And then it just got to a point where at a certain point where when I would go to work, I would literally sit in my chair for hours straight with stress in my shoulders because I just hated being in that environment. And when in 2017, after we got separated and I moved out and I lost my job, I haven't worked a 9 to 5 since then, and my bills are paid. And I eat every day, and I'm able to take care of you guys, all those things. But the reason I can do those things now is because I do things that I'm passionate about. You understand what I'm saying? And so I would rather do something that I'm passionate about and invest in me, if that makes sense, than invest in somebody else that's going to end up disappointing me in the process. And I think, and maybe y'all can unpack this and tell me what y'all think about this. I think sometimes we as Cancers, zodiac sign, we harden our shells and insulate ourselves so much that we don't want to put faith in other people. Because if we put faith in other people, we know that they can potentially let us down. So the best thing for us to do really is to really put faith in ourselves. Would either of you all agree with that?
100%. Every group project, I'll be like, I'll turn it in. Because I just got to make sure, especially it was just with this first school year, I'll turn it in. It's just a click of a button, but I know that I'm going to click the button to turn it in.
What about you, Trey?
I like delegating.
You like delegating, but you like being in control, though.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask something. Okay, so since you said that, that's good. You like to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
Do you trust them to do what you delegate them to do, or do you check them while they're delegating, while you're going through it? Like if the deadline's on the 21st, are you going to check with them on the 19th?
Oh, yeah.
To see if they're on the process?
Yes, for sure.
Because the old thing is the test of true leadership is when you're willing to give it away. The test of true power is when you're willing to give it away, right? So that means if I give you a responsibility and I tell you to do it or have it done by the 21st, then by the 21st,
I expect it done.
But if you're not, but I'm like you, I don't want to be disappointed. So I'm checking with you on the 18th. I'm gonna check with you on the 19th. I'm probably gonna check with you again on the 20th. Cause if it look like you ain't gonna get it done on the 20th, then I'm gonna get it done.
Oh, yeah.
I need a little cushion to make sure I get it done.
All right.
And I think that in essence protects us or insulates us from being disappointed. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Okay. So that's kind of putting what protective measures in place.
Mm-hmm.
So would you suggest that in order to avoid disappointment, that you should put protective measures in place?
Yeah.
And it's sad that we have to, though.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay. All right. So let's talk the 3 reasons why disappointment is good. Disco, you might want to hear this part right here. I've read in one article today, John Wilson also, if you stay up tonight, I'm right around the corner from you, I will drop your shirt off. Purple and gold, Trey, you can say, what is the R2, whatever. You can say it, I can't say it. I can't say it, I don't want to get in trouble. I couldn't understand what you're saying. But so 3 reasons that disappointment is good. One reason disappointment is good, it means that you are passionate for something, right? In other words, if you in disco, you are super passionate about everything that you do. I give you credit for that. But if you're passionate for something, then you put yourself in a position for something to disappoint you. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
It does make sense. Oh yeah. Means it means that means, and Martin Luther King said something a long time ago. He said, "There can be no disappointment where there is not deep love." What does that mean to you, Kennedy?
If you don't truly care about something, you won't be disappointed to a crippling extent or mentally crippling extent.
That's my child. Say, Trey, what does that mean to you?
Say it again.
There can be no disappointment. And Kennedy, you're 100% right. That's why I had a sign on that one. There can be no disappointment where there is not deep love.
Oh, yeah, okay. You won't be disappointed by something you aren't passionate about.
Yeah.
I mean, if you aren't passionate about it, it won't affect you regardless.
So it's not really a bad thing when something disappoints you. That means that you have a deep heart for something. That means that you have a deep passion for it. And because you have a deep passion for it, then it in essence stands the potential of disappointing you. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Another thing is, another reason that disappointment is good is because it means that there is an opportunity for growth, right? That means that there's an opportunity for growth. So say for instance, if you have a certain expectation and you don't meet that expectation, but yet and still you went through the experience of trying to meet that expectation, right? Then what happens is, if you don't pick up anything else, you at least pick up experience. And if you pick up experience, then you can think of troubleshooting like this. You can think of disappointment like this. It's almost like a troubleshooting tool. So you can go back and look at every decision that you made, every action that you made, everything that you did in the process, and you can say, okay, well, this went wrong, or this went wrong, or I made a left here when I should have made a right, or I should have done this when I should have done that. And you're using it as a troubleshooting tool, right? But the only way that works is if you have the proper perspective. What do y'all think?
I agree with that. If you see what mistakes you've made, then you can change them. You're not going to do the same thing over and over again if you're being disappointed constantly.
Yeah. What about you, Turk?
Yeah, I agree that it's just all about perspective, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's really all about perspective. If you can find the best in your disappointments, you'll probably change your mindset to be like, it's just a part of growing. You know, life is really too short to have too many disappointments.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And y'all, let me put this caveat out here about Trey, because I mean, a lot of y'all talk about how intelligent Trey is, and Trey is super intelligent. Trey Kennedy, all my children, like I said, intelligent. But Trey don't listen. Trey, when he wakes up in the morning, Trey don't listen to a whole lot of bull stuff on the radio. When you get in the car with Trey, 7 times out of 10, he's listening to podcasts. He's listening to things that are going to enhance or build his mind. Okay? Now, there's a balance. Now, he does listen to, what's the boy named Rod Wave and all the other kind of people. He does listen. I even know who Rod Wave is on a lot of songs now without him having to tell me. But with that being said, he gets enough balance to feed his mind properly so that he has the right strength. Does that make sense to you? So when he says it's all about perspective, he's saying it's all about perspective for a reason, okay? Because his perspective has been shaped. What do you tell us, Trey? We're the average of what? The top 5 people that we hang around? Mm-hmm. So if you're hanging around a whole bunch of miserable, upset people all the time, then what's going to happen? Then you're going to have a miserable perspective. You're going to have a poisoned perception. You're going to look at life in a negative way all the time. And that's the last thing we want to have. And so, and at that point, see, when you really know who you are, when you really are comfortable in your own skin, then you don't have a problem looking in the mirror and seeing what's wrong with you. Now, here's the thing. As men, especially African-American men, we're taught that we're supposed to be so tough and that we're supposed to shoulder all the responsibility. If it's a mistake, then we throw ourselves on the altar. We do all of those things. But at the end of the day, but it also helps us to look in the mirror and not be delusional as it relates to our current states, whatever those current states are. All right? So phone number again, 678-638-6626. Phone number again is 678-638-6626. You ready to give another t-shirt away, Kennedy?
Indeed.
The top one, let me see. We get ready for the next giveaway. We've already given away one t-shirt tonight. Kimberly Fox Steps has won the first t-shirt. Who's our second winner?
Miss Ashley Granberry.
Yay! Miss Ashley Granberry. She also wins a shirt. It's going to be, she already shared with me her size. We had a contest on Instagram and Facebook. Trey, tell them the rules one more time.
You had to like the post,
Tag 2 friends,
and subscribe on YouTube.
So many people were liking the post, but some wasn't tagging 2 friends. Some were subscribing on YouTube, but wasn't liking the post. But you had to do all 3 things, and Kim did that, and Ashley did that. And we're going to give away one more before the night is over. Okay, so we talked about 3 reasons why disappointment is good. The first one means that you are passionate for something. The second one is that you have an opportunity for growth. But the third one, and this one is going to be somewhat oxymoronic, but it is that disappointments make you stronger. I'm going to do a sermonic pause right there. Disappointment makes you stronger. Why does it make you stronger? Because disappointments teach you how to work through your emotions. Do you think you work through your emotions pretty good, Kennedy? Tell the truth.
I think I'm fine.
You think you're fine? All the time?
No.
You think you're better now than you used to be?
Yes.
Okay, good. What about you, Trey? How do you think? You think you handle your emotions well?
I don't really get too emotional about too much.
You don't. I'm gonna be honest. I've known this kid 23 years now, and I don't think I've ever. Only time I saw you emotional was one time the little boy stole your candy off the bus. He was hot that day, boy. Trey used to sell candy at school. He used to go to school every day, literally, and make about $30 or $40 selling candy at school. We put him in. He was hustling early in the 5th, 6th grade. He was selling his candy, so he was going to school every day. And one day, the jokers got him on the bus. They got him to turn his head for a moment, and when he turned his head for a moment, he came home, boy. And when he walked in the house first, he threw that book bag. Threw that book bag. Wow! And then he said, "They got me." I said, "What's wrong? They stole my candy." I said, "Oh my God." He was hot. And all I could do as a dad was say, "Hey, you got to learn from what you did." And I think we went right back to the store and bought some more candy that night. And we went back the next day. And I promise they didn't steal nothing from him again. You know what I'm saying? But it was watching him deal with that disappointment because he was the candy man at school, man. I'm telling your story. You tell your own story.
I guess I sold candy for cheaper than it was in a vending machine. That's about all I had going. I walked around with $50, $60 worth of candy every day and made like $30, $40 a day.
Every day.
In 5th grade.
In the 5th grade, man. He was doing his thug thistle, man. And what are you going to say?
I was saying, I can't believe you got away with that.
It's illegal now. You're not supposed to do that.
I know. You got away with it in Rockville County, but when you came to Cobb County,
you did it.
I did it everywhere.
Yeah.
Did it at home? I thought you stopped.
Remember Mr. Arion or something helped you or didn't tell you?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't remember that. But yeah, but anyway, that was a disappointing time for you. And honestly, like I said, that was really one of the only times I really watched you show emotion like this, especially having me as a dad. Cause I wore my feelings on my sleeve. I would get into. I know there was several times. Well, we'll get into that a little bit later on. But disappointments, if you deal with them enough, they'll teach you how to deal with your emotions. Mm-hmm. And when they teach you how to deal with your emotions, after a certain point, then after being disappointed enough, and not saying that you should welcome disappointment or that we long for disappointment, but the thing is that when we face disappointment, then we should be able to handle it a certain way. And if we handle it a certain way, then it makes us stronger for the next trial or the next tragedy or whatever else it is that we go through. Would y'all agree with that?
Yep.
So let's move on. So how to deal with disappointment? One thing you do when it comes to dealing with disappointment is you accept the feeling. Yeah. I mean, it's such a miscalculation, if you will, to act like when you're disappointed, to act like you're not disappointed, and you just want to sweep it under the rug and move on. Because if you sweep enough dust under the rug, what happens?
Creates a lump.
It creates a lump. Did you make that up on your own?
I mean,
That's
a
good one.
lot of dust under the rug. Create a lump.
I know, man. I've been saying it all my life, but I don't remember ever telling you that, so I ain't want to take credit for that one. But it does. If you keep on taking dust and you sweep it under the rug, then it's going to create a lump. It's going to create a big pile of dust. When you step on it, it's going to make a little cloud. It's going to do a bunch of things. And eventually, at some point, you're still going to have to end up sweeping up more dirt, right? So why not deal with it instead of sweeping it under the rug? Go ahead and sweep it in the dustpan, throw it away, so that way and so that way you can move on to whatever the next thing is. Anything that life deals us, I think. Okay, this is what I want to say. I think life lends lessons. Y'all heard me say this before. Life lends us lessons. It's on us to consider the clues. And so many times we move along in life and we don't consider the clues. I mean, life is steadily teaching you this and teaching you that. You know, if you broke now, truth be told, this ain't your first time being broke. And so if you made it out last time or you made it through last time, then guess what? 9 times out of 10, when this process is over, you're gonna make it out on this time too. I mean, if you got a common cold, the saying is there's no cure for the common cold, right? So really with the common cold, all you can do is wait it out. Put some fluid in you, drink some juice or whatever you're gonna do, go to bed, next 2 or 3 days, boom, you use it 24 hours, whether 36 hours, you use it, done with it, right? Same thing with a trial, same thing with disappointment. If you deal with it, if you handle it, if you make the necessary adjustments, if you do whatever you need to do, then you put yourself in the best possible position to move on from the disappointment. But the only way that can really happen is to accept how you feel. And while you're accepting how you feel, you got to remember this, and this is what we all need to say. If anybody's listening on the screen and you're dealing with any type of disappointment, listen to me right now. If you're dealing with any type of disappointment and it seems to be weighing you down or it's causing you to lose sleep or causing you to need a pill to go to bed at night, do me a favor. If you don't want to type it on the screen, say it to yourself. Say this: I am not a disappointment. I might have been disappointed, but I am not a disappointment. You need to realize you are not a disappointment. Trey, when you slid into second base, realize your shoulder was dislocated. A little bit later on, you realized that you wasn't going to be able to come back because it was worse than you thought it was. How did it make you feel?
I wasn't that disappointed.
You wasn't that disappointed at all?
No.
You were cool with it.
I was.
Okay.
That's when I knew.
Yeah. You knew that was it.
Yeah.
Wow. And I know you accepted it before we did. But you know, the only reason I think I hadn't accepted because I hadn't heard it from you yet, not out your mouth. But when you told me, hey, Dad, I'm done, I'm out. And then you told me why. Okay, cool. I was disappointed because I thought that you weren't going to experience the dream that I thought you wanted. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, you had to, and that's, you know, man, that's a powerful mental position to be in, to look in a very mature position. Excuse me, I'm sorry, hit my knee on the table. But that's a very mature position or a mature perspective to take, to say that it wasn't so much, you weren't so sure that it was the game that you wanted, but it was what the game would have offered you. And now you're getting similar to what the game could have offered you anyway. That's crazy.
It is, isn't it?
But what that means is that certain principles in life they're just principles, right? And it's just how you transfer those principles, because some of those transferable principles are also translatables. A lot of the discipline, a lot of the games within a game, a lot of the mentalities.
I agree.
Yeah, a lot of those things that you use in baseball, were translatable and transferable skills.
Mhm.
The discipline, even you. I mean, y'all got the discipline of going to practice several times a week. You got the discipline of a time practice. You knew what you were going to do at this time. You knew what I guess the word I'm going to use is structure. You knew when you had to be on the road to go out of town. If they gave you a per diem, you had to stay within the parameters of that per diem. All those things, right? You had to learn. Even you now, with your club softball team. I mean, when y'all went out of town, then you had to, you got the hotels, you kept the money, you helped with the raffles, all those things. Those were transferable / translatable skills that you picked up in one area, and they were able to transfer to other aspects of life. And I think with those translatable skills, that also helps you deal with disappointment. What you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the best way to come out and respond to it. Yeah, I will say in my experience, a lot of things I did deal with, especially in college, are setting me up for the successes I'm seeing now. Just like you said, a sense of discipline, consistency, and having a schedule is making for a lot of success. Doing the same thing over and over and over, you'll eventually see success if you're on the right path.
I mean, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And then just the sport itself, like if you
Oh.
strike out one at bat, you can't go thinking you're gonna strike out the next bat. You gotta have a short memory.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a whole nother paradigm, because in the game within itself, you have a disappointment. You can have disappointments within the game,
It's funny.
and then
You still gotta
and
play
you gotta
for
perform.
another hour.
If you make an error,
Can't think about it.
if you make an error
And strike out 3 times.
or strike out 3 times,
Oh, well.
and we're really, and before you struck out 3 times, you struck out twice, and you're going up again, knowing that this guy or this girl is throwing a rise ball, and she struck out the other 4 people right in front of you, and you're trying to time it, but you've already struck out twice, so you've already been disappointed twice.
And you gotta find a new game plan. What are you gonna swing at this time?
Wow, that's real good. That's real good. All right, so come back to you, Trey.
Just having. So my mentor basically says, people always ask, when did you see a transition in your trading? And he said, I did the same thing every day for 2 years.
Wow.
Same thing every day for 2 years, and it eventually clicks. Just clicks. You see the same thing every day. It's a chart. You see the same patterns every day. And he said, I did the same thing every day for 2 years straight. He said, I didn't want to work 40 hours, so I did 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, 15-hour work week, and I can do whatever I want to do.
And that's the model you've chosen now. Now, did you face any disappointments in trading?
Yes. I still do. I still do. But it's just a whole bunch of like trial and error, basically. And you always learning. And it's crazy because even my mentor, he said he didn't start trading seriously until he was 29. And that's what blows my mind about me. So I just turned 23. And I feel like my what I can do is so limitless,
So what?
Limitless. Like I don't know. Like you asked me what
I want y'all to pause. Everybody listen. I want you to pause to hear what my son just said. Most people talk about how limited things are, but what he just said was that what you can do is so
limitless.
Limitless.
I don't know how much money I can make. I don't know what I can do. I like how I can determine that.
Yeah. And that's because if you take a regular job, I was talking to somebody about this last week because I was trying to talk a person into going into insurance, to selling insurance. And I think that person makes $12, $13 an hour, $14, whatever it is. It ain't no more than about $31,000, $32,000 a year. And that person literally told me that they were kind of nervous about giving up their job because they didn't want to give up their $10,000 refund check that they get once a year.
It's a poor man's mindset.
Okay, so $30,000 a year plus $10,000 a year is $40,000, right? But the job I'm trying to offer them give them the potential of making $10,000 a month, right? So $120,000 versus $40,000. Well, really ain't 40 because you have to pay taxes on that. And even if it's 120, if you pay 30% in tax, that's 36,000 of 120. You still bring home $84,000. But you still waiting around for. Let me tell you something. I would much rather get a refund check every month than to get a refund check in January, February, March. And Kenny said, "What are y'all talking about?" Kenny never had no job. She had to. That's how we wanted it. She's learning her life. But yeah, this you said something that which is the next point of how to deal with disappointment is that you learn from it.
Yeah, so it's funny. Like I said, I always related it to trading, but my people say these will be the cheapest mistakes of your life. So I make like if I lose 1,000, 2,000, I hope I can lose 30,000 one day.
Because if you can afford to lose 30,000,
I
how
hope
much
I can
did
lose $1 million in a day.
how much did you have if you lost that much?
Well, if I risk that, that's 3 million, so that'd be 1%.
Wow,
Yeah, so that'd be 1% of a $3 million account.
that's crazy. So you hope you can lose a
I
million.
hope I can lose
That
it.
means you're in a position to lose it. Because most people wouldn't even that. Yeah, that's Brandon. You're right. That's deep. If you were in a position to lose $1 million, because most people would be disappointed if they went to the mouth and all right, let's go back. Let's go back. The time you got lost the candy, you was super disappointed, right, when they took your money. But the time you lost the wallet, you wasn't that disappointed. Never will forget Trey. We were at the job at work. He went to Popeyes, went to get something to eat. He was kind of young and naive, went to 16, 17 years old, just started driving, left his wallet on his tray, walked to the bathroom, somebody stole it quick as possible. He came back to work, said, Dad, somebody stole my wallet. He wasn't crying, wasn't upset, wasn't mad, none of that kind of stuff. Now that could have easily been qualified as a disappointment, but it was how he handled it. And because of the way, and I don't know if it was only the way he handled it, or it was also the way I handled it, because all I said was basically, well, first of all, you shouldn't have left your wallet on the tray. Second of all, it's cool. We'll go get you a new license. We'll order you you got to order you a new debit card. Got to get you a new wallet. Boom. You learn from it. Will you do that again?
Nope.
All right. So whatever disappointments you face in life, make sure that you learn from it. Anything you learn, same thing. Another thing is when you face disappointments, instead of focusing on what you lost, focus on what you still have.
COVID should have opened a lot of people's eyes with that.
Ooh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely true. COVID should have opened a lot of people's eyes. Even me, when I went through my personal, even with the divorce and all that kind of stuff, for a while I sat on the couch with a woe is me mentality, thinking about everything that I lost instead of focusing on what I still had, and because I mean, I felt it was an alone type of feeling, whatever. But it was never a time that I couldn't call Kennedy. Was never a time I couldn't call Trey. Was never a time Mackenzie wouldn't call and say, Dad, I love you. All this type of things. Whenever I called, said let's go out to eat. We went out to eat if Trey was out of town. And I'm sure even if I can think of a time in particular, Trey probably was too man enough not to want to talk about it. But I know for one particular instance that and we're not going to lift it up, but I know I disappointed him, and I disappointed him for a while. We didn't talk for a minute. I mean, but it wasn't as noticeable because he was at school, but we fell out. You know what I mean? Well, he fell out with me, and I knew it. I knew it. I mean, she started almost disconnected me on social media and all kind of stuff because and this is just me being transparent. He wouldn't have never said anything about it. But you know what? Even during that whole time of that disappointment, he never disrespected me. He never called me and said you never had words, anything of the sort. And through the process of time, I think we're closer now than we've ever been before.
Mm-hmm.
What changed to help you get beyond that disappointment?
Realizing people do make mistakes, and no mistake should be granted as bigger than the other. God said it shouldn't.
Okay.
So who are we to say? Honestly, that's how I feel about it.
Gotcha. And I think a lot of that also is that I grew up.
Yeah, that's true.
I grew up late. Sometimes as men, we grew up late, and I grew up. I think for a season of my personal life, I kind of stopped the growth process. You know what I'm saying? I kind of was mute, if you will, or I don't know what had happened. I was just kind of blind because I had dealt with so many disappointments, and it seemed to an extent. I used to hear Bishop Kenneth Robinson say that it's like pouring water on a drowning man. It seemed like every decision that I made was a bad decision. You know what I'm saying? And but even during those bad decisions, even through those disappointments, I tried my very best to make sure that y'all looked good. You know what I'm saying? That y'all played, y'all made the part, or y'all did what you all were supposed to do, or y'all didn't miss anything, anything of the sort. And if anything went wrong, I tried my best to take the blunt of that responsibility. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, that was tough. That was hard, man. Because it was a season that I don't know if y'all have ever felt like this, where you're in a crowded room, but you feel like you're all by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for a long time. That's where I was in my personal life, man. And when you do that, it's in essence, in a sense, kind of dysfunctional. And when it's dysfunctional, you begin to allow that to become your new normal. You feel what I'm saying? And you start. It's almost like swimming in mud. You know what I'm saying? You're looking for clear water, but you can't get it. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I was. I mean, I had disappointed. The reason why I was a disappointment to y'all, and I don't know if I was ever one to you or not. You never expressed it, but the reason why I was a disappointment to you all probably was because I was a disappointment to myself. I was one that felt like I was supposed to be a millionaire, but I didn't know what kind of job I had to become the millionaire.
It's hard to have one.
Uh-huh.
It's hard to have a
It's
job.
hard to have.
A millionaire.
And you watch me, man. I would go buy stuff and resell it. Clothes. How many businesses can you remember me having growing up?
At least 5.
At least 5. You remember how many did you? Because you didn't pay attention as much.
1, 2.
Kennedy, and that lets you know we could be in the same house but be oblivious. So Kennedy was concerned about 2 things. Number 1, that dog. That's Chloe, our dog. And number 2, I forgot 3 things. 2 was TV, and 3 was her grades. And
How about we restructure the priority?
Well, I was just going to say that's
Okay.
that was,
TV.
TV's got to be top. TV's number 3.
Yes, my grades, the dog, and then
Okay, great.
the TV.
Whatever.
Sure.
Can we go 1 and 1A? How about 1 and 1A and 1B numbers?
Oh my goodness.
No, we're gonna leave her alone. She will beat us up on the way home tonight. But no, but when disappointment comes, beloved, when disappointments come, you still got to refocus on what you still have. Okay? Now, another thing, and we're gonna go through a couple more points because we're getting close. Oh, we got one more t-shirt to give away.
We do.
We got one more t-shirt. We're giving one. The first one was to Kimberly Fox Steps. The second one was to Ashley Granberry. And the third one will be to
Tony Layton.
Tony Layton. This one right here. That one is going to go to Tony Layton. Tony Layton. If anybody sees him or knows him, tag him and let him know that he won a t-shirt. All of you winners, I need you to inbox me your address. Don't worry about shipping. I will take care of that, okay? I'll take care of that. Why? Because I appreciate you for listening. Tony Layton, you won a shirt. Kimberly Fox Steps, you won a shirt. And Ashley Granberry, you won a shirt. Now, when you all get these shirts in the mail, I'm going to ask that you would take a picture of them and hashtag on the path to better. Tag me. Let me see you wear your shirts. Anybody else that does not have a shirt and wants a shirt, they are available up to an XL. $18 plus shipping and handling. Anything 2X and above is $20 plus shipping and handling. We're using the foil letters. You let me know what color you want, and I will make that happen for you. Now you will have them in your hands within 7 to 10 days at the very, very latest. Okay, so that's just another commercial right there. Kennedy, we got to do some real commercials and put them in the middle of the show as we begin to expand our podcast. Okay. All right, so how to deal with disappointments. Next one is to keep a positive attitude. In other words, seek positive actions to recharge yourself. When you are dealing with disappointment, what's some things you do to recharge yourself?
Well, I'll sit and I'll watch TV because it's a mindless activity. And y'all just said that, so.
Just like that. Is that the only thing you do? Mainly?
Pretty much. I don't really.
What do you do, Trey, when you need to recharge?
I either take a step back totally, don't even think anything about it, or I dive in real hard and go study.
Go study something. So when you do,
Personal development or study the focus, So it's really one extreme or the other one. I don't really teeter in the middle. I either want to get totally away from it or I want to dive right into it.
Okay. Those that are in the chat, what's some things you do when you start to deal with disappointment? What's some of the things that you do to help you deal with disappointment? Some of the things you can do is you can always talk to a friend. But listen to what I'm saying. If you're gonna talk to a friend, talk to a positive friend.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if you're in marriage, first of all, you don't need to talk to nobody. If you're married, you don't need to talk to nobody but Jesus and your spouse, to be honest with you. But if you decide to talk to anybody else, make sure you talk to somebody who's been in a marriage for a long time. But don't talk to somebody who's just recently divorced or who's never been married or who's never been in a good relationship. Because 9 times out of 10, those people are not going to give you, well, I ain't going to say 9, I'll just say 8.5. 8.5 times out of 10, those people are not going to give you the best advice. Give it to somebody who's been in a marriage for a long time, who is an advocate for marriage, who's a proponent, because those individuals are probably going to give you the best advice. So any type of disappointment that you're dealing with, talk to somebody who has experience in that area. And if they don't have experience in that area, at least experience in the area of being positive and knowing how to use positive. Because really, positive reinforcement works in every aspect, right? Mm-hmm. So seek positive actions to recharge yourself. Like you can pray, you can talk to a positive friend. Me personally, when I get upset like that, I need to take a nap. I need to lay down, because when I get that upset, I got to calm down. The best way for me to calm down is to take a nap or to walk. Well, I'm not going walking nowhere. Everybody knows I ain't walking around the corner unless I'm walking Chloe. But I need to get in the car and drive. But I got to do something to recharge myself. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to shut this down for the night. The next one is, and I like this one. So let's looking at it. Yeah. This one is good. This one is good. Yeah. Kim, if you're still there, write this one in the chat for me. The next thing you need to do is attach to your desire and not your goal. Mm-hmm. Break that down, Trace, since it caught your attention.
Yeah, man. I was looking at that, and I think desires are much deeper than goals. Anyone can write down some goals, but if you really desire it, you're going to get it.
Exactly.
You're going to get it, because anything is achievable. And people don't really take that seriously. If you can see it, you can do it. Yeah. And I don't think people really believe it when they say it, but if you can see it, you can do it.
Well, seeing it, like we say, if you see it, you can be it. If you can seek it, you can achieve it. But if you do those things, but the way it works is, it's not the seeing aspect of it, it's the planning that goes after seeing it.
It is. A lot of people they just say, I'm going to do something and wait on it to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. I mean, I do understand it. People just, they hope and pray. But it takes action.
Peter and John in the Bible were two totally contrasting personality. One was a dreamer, one was a doer. Got a lot of dreamers in the world, but a lot of dreamers get stuck not doing. That's why there's so much vision stuck in the graveyard right now. Mm-hmm. But so much grave that would never ever. Okay, Kim said you didn't catch the last part. Attach to your desire and not your goal. Attach to your desire and not your goal. In other words, because what happened is, if you have a desire and you set a goal and you don't achieve the goal, then you'll be disappointed because you didn't achieve the goal. But the fact of the matter is, you shouldn't be upset that you didn't achieve the goal. You should be thankful that you have the desire, because the desire can go in a whole bunch of different directions, but end up with the same outcome or with the necessary outcome. Mm-hmm. But because we don't reach the goal the first time, then what we do is we think it's something wrong with the desire. No, it's nothing wrong with the desire. The problem is you just got to figure out how to put the process in place to get you to the expected goal that you're trying to get to. Does that make sense?
It does. Yep.
All right. So what are your goals? What's your goal for this next year?
Of course, to keep my grades up, and also hopefully to win a championship with the club.
Are y'all gonna have a season this year?
I think so.
All right, cool.
I think so.
Cool. Listen, I want to get the kids on. Maybe not the kids; they're grown. I want to get them on tonight because they're going to be leaving me soon. And honestly, it makes me smile just to hear them talk, to be honest with you. And it keeps me from having to talk as much. But that last point for those that missed it was to attach to your desire and not your goal. Attach to your desire and not your goal. When you are disappointed, your source of disappointment is rooted in your attachment to a certain outcome. When you don't achieve the outcome, you are naturally disappointed. But remember that the outcome is merely a reflection of an underlying desire. Everything, if you have a desire, the desire is actually the platform or the launching pad to get you to any goal, any destiny that you want. Anything you want. Your difficulty was not, or your disappointment was not designed to destroy you. It was not designed to deteriorate you, but instead it was designed to develop you. If you view it properly. If you view it improperly, you're going to lose a lot of sleep. You're going to have a lot of gray hair, all those things. But hey, we're going to make it through. Listen, I'm getting ready to go. We've enjoyed you talking, enjoyed this conversation for the last hour. Kennedy, hopefully you'll be able to come back before you go to school. But if you don't, hey, we want you to go and make straight A's and keep doing as close as you can and keep doing your thing. And we're excited. But I want to congratulate all the winners tonight: Kimberly Fox Steps, Ashley Granberry, and Tony Layton. Thank you for participating. I'll do another challenge soon, and hopefully more people will participate. But listen, remember two things. Number one, trying to create a community that is on the path to better. We're on the path to better. And the other thing is that the world is changing. And the question is, why do you remain the same? Y'all have a good night, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank y'all.